Ryan Reynolds, Emma Stone, Miley Cyrus, Miranda Lambert, Orlando Bloom, all of these celebrities have adopted their pets because they thought it was the right decision. Overproduction of companion animals is a huge problem in the US, and our solution is adoption. Bad breeding practices has caused an overproduction in companion animals, and this causes an increase in stray and unhealthy pets. My name is Kasey, and I will be talking about the problem of overproduction. Maddie will be talking about the causes of overproduction, and Hannah will be talking about the solution to this problem. First off, I will be talking about the problem of overproduction. Millions of cats and dogs end up in the streets every year because there is more pets than responsible owners to take them in. Since so many of these pets become strays, it is often that they go into pounds or shelters, and the end result is often death. PETA.org says that 6 million lost, abandoned, or unwanted dogs have gone into animal shelters and pounds every year. Some of these animals are lucky and are adopted into nice homes, but unfortunately there are far more animals than responsible homes provided. This is an issue throughout the entire United States, but is also very prevalent here in the FM area. Homeward Animal Shelter is an animal shelter right here in Fargo, and they reported that in 2013, 133 cats and 305 dogs were euthanized. Now, this doesn't mean that all of these animals were adoptable. When stray animals go into the wild, they become a lot of the chances that they become injured or malnourished from lack of a proper diet. Again, from Homeward Animal Shelter, in 2013, they reported that 8 dogs were euthanized because they were injured, and 6 were euthanized because they either had rabies or some other type of disease. Also, these animals, when they are away from home, it becomes stressful for them to be in a new environment, and many of them go insane from abandonment. And a lot of them suffer in the streets without exercise, companionship, or lack of the basic necessities such as food, water, and shelter. And many times, the animals come to the shelter too late and are unadoptable because they are sick or malnourished, and the only option is euthanization. One of the main reasons so many pets end up in this situation is because in Fargo, if an animal is reported a stray, they are brought immediately to the pound for the owner to get a chance to claim their pet. But the owner must do this within 3 to 5 days, or else their pet is either transferred to a shelter or is killed. This is a problem because legally you cannot bring a stray animal to the Humane Society where they will get their proper care. They must spend 3 to 5 days in the pound first where their conditions may worsen. Since there is an overproduction in companion animals, most of them are going to end up on the street and go to either the pound or animal shelter where they're either euthanized or confined for long periods of time. Additionally, this overproduction of companion animals has a lot of global effects on a community. One of the major ones is an ecological concern. When an animal goes into the wild, it causes major damage to existing ecosystems and animal populations. Another thing is an overpopulation of companion animals can cause a financial problem. Capturing, impounding, and euthanizing these animals is very expensive, and it costs taxpayers and private agencies millions of dollars per year. So clearly the overproduction of companion animals is a huge problem in our community. And now Maddie will explain the main causes of this problem.
Thank you, Kasey. Puppy mills are the main cause of the excess companion animals in the U.S. Production is maximized in order to maximize profit, even at the expense of health and well-being of the animals. This leads to more dogs neglected and left on the street. After I explain to you the horrible conditions in which these animals live, you will see that adoption is the more humane option. I will first describe to you how the poor treatment of the mothers makes for a rough start for the puppies. I will then take you through the rest of the puppy's time at the puppy mill before they are sold to the highest bidder. I will then explain how to tell if your puppy is from a mill. The start of a puppy's life is pregnancy. There is also where inadequate care begins. The ASPCA explains how female dogs are bred at every possible chance with little to no recovery time in between in order to optimize profits. This puts a lot of stress on the mothers and makes for unhealthy and malnourished puppies. When mothers reach total exhaustion and are no longer able to breed, they are often euthanized. After they are born, puppies grow up in a dirty and overcrowded area. The article from the ASPCA also described how the puppies are often housed in wire cages, which can often inflict wounds on their ankles and paws. And without proper veterinary care, they can get infected. The ASPCA also describes how the puppies are often raised without adequate food, water, or socialization, and separation from their mothers and littermates can often lead to behavior problems down the road, such as fear or anxiety. When deprived of proper vaccinations, illnesses such as parasites or pneumonia can cause serious health problems down the road and can be expensive for pet owners. I will now tell you how to detect if your puppy is from a mill, provided by iHeartDogs.com. The first way to tell is when you ask to meet with the breeder if they suggest to meet somewhere other than their breeding site. This is because they don't want you to see the horrible conditions that these puppies are raised in. The second way to tell is if the breeder breeds multiple breeds of dogs or has multiple litters available at once. Most breeders will just stick to one type of dog and only have one litter available at once, and there's often a waiting list for that, but puppy mills like to branch out. I will now tell you, the third reason is if they make you sign a contract promising to take good care of the dog, because the breeder will care more about the dog than puppy mills will. They just care about the profit. Now that I've explained to you the cause of the problem, Hannah will give you the solution.
Thank you, Maddie. The solution that we came up with for the problem of overproduction and overpopulation of companion animals is to adopt rather than to shop. The first reason, as we know as college students, you get more for less. So financially, it's more inept to adopt than to shop from a pet store. And here's why. When you buy from a pet store, you are responsible for the vaccines, dewormers, the tests, the spaying and neutering, and the microchipping required to own a pet usually. And when you adopt, this is all done within the adoption fee. A popular website called Pet Finder that helps find adoption agencies for adopting animals kind of laid out all the costs of these. Spaying and neutering usually goes from $150 to $300. Vaccines like distemper and rabies range from $15 to $30. Heartworm tests range from $15 to $35. And microchipping has a base fee of $50, and flea and tick treatments can range from $50 to $200 based on severity. So when you compare that to an adoption fee like the one I paid for my pet, which was $150, that's quite a bit of savings. Even the Humane Society of the United States stated that pets adopted from shelters and rescue groups are typically cost less than pets purchased or even acquired for free just because of those costs. The second reason that adoption is the better option is because it controls population. Like I had mentioned before, shelters spay and neuter all their animals, which makes those animals not able to procreate or put more animals into the population that is already in the area. Also, when you don't buy from pet stores, you're not buying into puppy mills, which Maddie explained was a terrible thing. And their main form of business is to make more puppies, which inevitably adds to the population. Other than that, dogs from pet stores usually are disease-ridden because of those terrible conditions, so ultimately it's just unsafe and unfair to the animals to buy from pet stores. So now that I've given the solution, I'll now go over we'll recap on what we had talked about. So overpopulation and production of companion animals is a huge problem in the United States, and our solution to this is adoption. Kasey started by discussing overpopulation, and Maddie went into the cause, which was through puppy mills. And then I finished with our solution of adoption because it's safer and more practical. So when you're considering to be the owner of a new pet, please take a stray off the street, save a life, because
adoption is the best option.